I, Prima of First MBA, take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Rajesh Prasad, resource person for the first session. Mr. Rajesh Prasad is a human resource professional, PGDM HR, from TAPI Management Institute, having completed BTech in Mechanical from Government College of Engineering, Pune. He has more than 8 years of industry work experience across various sectors like education services, banking, pharmaceutical and research, university, automobile R&D, gaming and IT services. He also has an overall experience in companies like Manipal Education and Medical Group International Limited, Manipal Global Education Services, Manipal Academy of Banking, Manipal University Jaipur, TCS, Thermax, Reliance Big Entertainment, Infosys Limited, Wipro Limited. Change agent with experience in stabilizing people practices and business processes for enhanced operations, building employee morale, managing attrition, and building a fostering culture of appreciation. His areas of expertise include stakeholder management, employee engagement and learning interventions, talent management and competency development, attrition retention management, rewards and recognition, compensation and benefits. OD interventions like talent and review planning, performance management process, promotion, employee experience survey, and HR analytics. Presently, he is associated with Wipro Technologies, Pune, as HR lead business partner, handling a span of 2,500 Microsoft business employees. On behalf of management, directors, staff, and students, I extend a hearty welcome to you, sir. Sir, I request you to take over the session.
Sure. I hope I'm audible. Just a kind confirmation.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay, fine. So thank you so much, first of all, and a warm hello and good morning to everyone. Good morning to the respected dignitaries in the meeting and all the bright students out here in this amazing forum of discussion today. Thank you all for making it to this forum today, and hope everyone is keeping safe and healthy in these unprecedented times of pandemic, right? So please take care of yourselves and take all the precautions because these are really uncertain times. First of all, would like to thank the management and leaders to have given this opportunity today. I usually look forward to these sessions, as it's really a enriching experience to learn different perspectives from the academia and to leverage some of the perspectives as an active feedback loop in the industry. So it's actually learning session for me, not so much for you as well. So without further ado, let me begin, and I'll just share my screen. I have a small presentation. I hope you don't mind me flipping through these slides. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, visible.
Okay, fine. Thanks for confirmation. So, let me begin with an acronym, which, most of you might have seen, read, heard somewhere till now, right? And it will be good if, you guys interact and let me know if you have any answers. Let it be interactive because I really don't want to make it a monotonous and a one-way street. Anyone? Anyone wants to take the mic and just answer what it is? It's called VUCA, VUCA. So, has anybody heard about it? Any answers? I mean, it's not like you have to be correct or wrong.
Volatile,
Mm-hmm.
volatile and uncertain.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. I mean, you're partly there. So let's go through it, right? And V really stands for volatility, right? So the world usually is very dynamic and changing. The biggest example is the current pandemic, if you see, and the supply demand dynamics of the market, in terms of talent market, in terms of the economy, and the various sectors out there. It's really volatile, dynamic. So that's why the V, right? And as you rightly mentioned, U stands for uncertain or uncertainty. The world definitely is uncertain and unpredictable, with the rate of agility and the need to be more informed and wiser in decision making, right? C stands for complex or complexity. The world has interconnected parts and variables. Even if the information, is available, the volume or the nature of the various variables involved there could be overwhelming. So that's what makes it very complex in nature to understand, to fathom, and to really draw out some patterns or trends out of it. A stands for ambiguous or ambiguity. So ambiguity stands here for the causal relationships, which are very unclear in this world, right? Sometimes there are no precedents, and that requires us to experiment, do some hypothesis and test it to learn much needed lessons, and to draw out some conclusions as to what works, what doesn't work, what are the some kinds of common precedents that lead to some kind of effects. So the causal relationships are then drawn forward out of this ambiguous in nature of things. So definitely, this all leads to the world being transformed into a more digital and connected world, which is called C world. Right? The term connected world is a derivative of the digital transformation, signifying the increasing reliance that we have on connectivity, smart devices, and the data driven decision making. Devices become smarter and better able to communicate with each other through the IoT, we might have heard, Internet of Things, right? To achieve both simple goals and various complex tasks, arduous tasks. Within our homes also, we are able to control a myriad of devices, with commands like, hey Google or Alexa, do me a favor, do play this song or do something, whatever it is. You have so much of convenience nowadays. You get alerts straight out of our mobile devices, right? When someone rings your doorbell, when there's movement in the yard, or when a door is unlocked, as simple as that. So it's become more connected. If you see, it's a digital world out there. More connections equal more convenience and insight, to us in our daily life and various businesses that we do. But as further we embrace the benefits of this new data driven world, we need to consider how we protect and secure these efforts, moving forward. So let's see some industry examples, and to see innovations which signify that in this digital world there are no more boundaries left. So anyone has any guess what this is about? Anyone has seen this or read about this? Any clue? We can probably pass the mic, and if anyone wants to take a guess at what it is. Okay, so if no one, let me go forward. Or is there anyone who wants to answer?
Diversification.
Yes, sort of there, but then I'll tell you more about this interesting image that we are seeing. It's called the soul food. Okay, not the SOUL, but SOLE. Okay, the shoe sole. So in 2017, Pizza Hut had released a limited edition of the Pie Top sneakers. So these are sneakers, okay, and they were used. They used geolocation to allow wearers to have pizza delivered to wherever they are, to whichever location they were. Pressing a button on the tongue of the sneaker connects with a Pie Tops custom app which ordered the pizza. So it was that kind of a customized service that they were going to that extent. You could just press that button wherever you are and the pizza will be there, in minutes. So that was in 2017, which Pizza Hut delivered or came up with. Another example of using technology and how the boundaries between the sectors are getting really blurred. We might have availed the services of Interglobe, whatever the company is, Indigo, right? It's, I don't know the full form of it. But this low cost Indian airline, is the largest Indian airline with around 60% of domestic market share, as of August 2020. And the airline operates almost 1,500 flights a day, almost 180 seats per flight. And you can do the math, a whooping 270,000 number of meal requirements per day, right? So are we really talking of aviation industry here, or a mini hospitality industry inside this aviation sector? So clearly the boundaries of the various sectors are no more clear and no more discrete. It's almost as if there is a sectoral overlap, and you can see that they have rather become blurred. Okay, so this is one kind of a example in which the sectors are getting blurred. Now, one more interesting fact: the use of technology. This is Spectrocom stickers, right? We all know this man over there is a very famous Indian cricketer, Anil Kumble. He launched a very amazing and a very creative kind of a never before seen power bat sticker. So this smart sticker for cricket bats, transformed the cricket bat into a power bat. Now, what does this power bat do, and what does this Spectracom mini chip, which comes like in the size of a credit card, and it's usually a sticker which you can install at the back of your bat and play your game, right? This power bat analyzes the performance real time, comparing your shots and techniques with that of your favorite cricket players. A simple lightweight sticker with wireless charging and Bluetooth connectivity feature, providing real-time insights into Microsoft Azure Analytics, using Microsoft Azure Analytics and machine learning capabilities to create instant data models. This has revolutionized the sporting example or experience by creating ecosystem that engages fans, broadcasters, amateurs, coaches, players, and professionals throughout, through the state of art smart products and technologies. Moreover, in the field of sports, if you have to see, the high definition camera systems, embedded sensors, video analytics, artificial intelligence, video modeling, augmented reality, and more are fundamentally changing the way cricket as a sport is played and consumed, right? So this simple example out here, when we see, if we use this power bat and play a game, it will then store the real-time analytics. It will actually record the parameters when you play a kind of a shot, and it will also kind of monitor the various parameters of the ball being bowled at, right? With what kind of velocity, with what angle, with what swing, with what kind of a trajectory it is coming to you, and what is the optimum shot that you have to play as a batsman to that kind of a ball which is bowled to you. So those kind of data driven decisions which can really improve your game, really actually improve and help you take better decisions, is what this digital transformation has done. One more and the last example which I have for digital transformation is this. This is an employee from a company. It's a provider of self-service break room vending machines. Okay, and this company is called Three Square Market. So it's a Wisconsin company, and in 2017 It offered its workers to the chance to toss the employee ID card and chuck all their passwords. So imagine a situation, which is really appealing, right? Especially for people who frequently lose or forget their passwords, or every other thing that they need to use for signing in to the office daily, right? It comes with a catch. In exchange, each employee will insert a tiny microchip under the skin, right, on the web of their thumb and the first finger in the hands. uh, right, so this is where it used to get installed. You can see the x-ray image, the web between the thumb and the first finger of your hands. This is where the microchip was installed, right? So as it happened, 50 out of 80 employees at that company voluntarily agreed to be chipped. So they started chipping the employees. This device allowed, door access to enter buildings, sign into their computers, and pay for snacks, all with a wave of hand on a sensor. Imagine you just do a wave and you pay for whatever you eat in the canteen, right? So it's kind of amazing. But what it really did was it captured a lot of data. It captured a lot of data which with these chips, in the process of you making various choices during your day at office, be it food choices, be it the time duration spent at canteens, or places within the office premises, where you spend time, how much time, what you do. So all these data pointers, they gave a lot of insights into the stress levels, into the employee mood, engagement levels of the employees. This further gave data insights for perspectives and prescriptive and predictive analytics, which the company was trying to do with these kind of data being captured. Interesting, right? Isn't it? You might wonder how exactly HR is aligned in this whole picture, and we'll come to that in just a minute. So, so just to summarize, why we went through all these examples and why I was talking about these creative and very unique examples, is because the technology, because the digital transformation has now made the world a more agile world, right? When we have to become agile, it simply means we are becoming non-fragile, because once we are agile, we are able to adapt quickly to the changing environment. The rate of change of the environment that we are in is really high, and to be able to cope up with the changes with such a fleeting environment, we really have to be agile, to be able to become non-fragile. And how do we do that? Is actually using technology, is harnessing it, leveraging it to be to create that hyper personalized services, to be more personalized. As we saw in Pizza Hut, they catered to a market wherein that the people had, you can say, no patience, and they wanted convenience. They wanted pizza wherever they went. So they installed a GPS right away in their shoes, and they said if you want to use these shoes, you will be able to get pizza anywhere you go. So that's the personalized service. That's a very socialized and customized offering. So that's kind of an example which is really hyper personalized. We can see the Spectracom example, in which data was captured. Data is captured through a mini microchip. The three square market example, in which the chip did the same. What are these chips doing? What is the technology underlying these devices, these apps, or these various cloud services, various Azure analytics that has been used or leveraged? What are these going to do? They're going to give us insights. They're going to give us uh, a scope to actually distinguish between information and a data, right? So data is always insightful, but information may or may not be insightful. So to be able to convert information into a data driven, insightful decision making, that requires analytics. So that is what we'll go into when we speak of human resources also. as to how exactly human resources or HR is going to be able to utilize or leverage this digital transformation. So digitalizing HR is changing the ways we work, including the nature of our work, the career structures, the knowledge, the workforce, the expectations, the workplace itself, which is changing, and the skills to do one's job. Employees now want an experience, and they don't want a career anymore, right? They just want to be engaged in their work and their company. And I'll come to why is it that we're talking of employee wanting an experience now, and not just a stable career, not just a 9 to 5 job. Why is it so? Because if you see, digital transformation creates an all-in workforce approach beyond automation. It improves business agility, more holistic, effective use of whatever services that we have, insightful, intelligent services, leveraging and upskilling a more diverse workforce. Now we come to the workforce aspect, which I was just mentioning about. Uh, as to are you aware of the generations, and how many generations actually are able to simultaneously cope up with each other, if I can use that word, at the workplace, at the current workplace? Are you aware of the generations of workforce? Anyone? Any guesses? Any names of any of the generations that you know? Anyone? I mean, it can be as simple as any of those 5 generations.
Gen X,
Yes, Gen X is one of those generations. Very good. Any
Gen Y.
more? Yeah, yeah. Gen Y is another generation. Then Gen Z also will be one more. Yes.
Millennials.
Millennials, yeah. Millennials are nothing but Generation Y as well. So yeah, thanks for those answers. I think you guys have done your homework very well. So the 5 generations, 4 or 5 generations that we can typically see at the same time in the current workplace and in the current workforce are baby boomers, Generation X, as you called out, Gen Y or millennials, and Gen Z. So we'll see what each of them are all about, and what are the characteristics, and how digital transformation or use of technology is going to help us cope up with this generational diversity at workplace and becoming generationally intelligent, to be able to really leverage or align them towards a culture which is needed at the workplace. Right? So baby boomers, what are those and who are those? Baby boomers are those people who are born between 1946 to 1964, to be precise. And the characteristics that they show are, they're very competitive, they're focused, they're goal oriented, right? And some describe them as optimistic and disciplined, strong team players as they are. They're almost nearing retirement, and they really appreciate flexible work policies now, right? So that's baby boomers for you. And Gen X, as someone mentioned, those are people who are born between 1964 to 1981, right? So Gen X, they usually tend to thrive on a balanced work. They have been described as self-reliant and very practical, pragmatic. They may be particularly concerned with healthcare coverage, flexible workforce arrangements, on-site daycare, other perks that any employer gives them that support a work-life balance. So those are the aspirations typically of a Gen X. Now we come to millennials or Gen Y, which most of us are, and some of us are Gen Z as well. Gen Y or millennials are predominantly the majority of the workforce in the current workforce. And they are the people who are born between 1982 to 1995. So the characteristics that they display at work are, they're hopeful, they're fun loving, they're ambitious. They have been used to define this this workforce. And millennials value career development opportunities as well as the benefits that prioritize a work-life balance. So it's really important for them to be able to see meaning in what they do, to be able to have a career development, a capability development at their work profile. So we move on to Gen Z. And what are Gen Zs now? So Gen Zs are all who are born after 1995. So they are really entrepreneurial in nature, tech savvy, and they want independence. They have this real, uh, motivation of being independent and having their own freedom, having their own multitasking ability, which is very natural to them, to this group. So workplace flexibility is the most sought after benefit for employees in this age group, more than healthcare or training and development and whatnot. So this is Gen Z for you, and most of us might have also heard about gig workforce, right, or gig economy, GIG. So gig is nothing but an economy where the workforce is concerned about their convenience. They are no more bothered about the 9 to 5 job. They're no more bothered about the security or the stability or the retirement benefits that an organization gives you. So they are more of freelancers. They're more of assignment oriented work. They are using their skill sets. They're using their abilities to deliver, and they're good in their work. So they are actually prioritizing convenience. They if they work for 3 hours, let's say, they will work at their own convenience. So that's gig workforce, which is evolving in this kind of an economy. And most of the gig workforce comprise of millennials and Gen Zs because of their inherent characteristics. So each generation, brings its own unique strengths to the table, and it's important for leadership to capitalize, not to bury them, their strengths. No single generation holds everything in the company to succeed in today's changing environment. And there's a quote of by someone called Rich Milgram, or CEO of Beyond, who said that if I had a workforce of people who could communicate with the elegance of a baby boomer, the thoughtfulness of a Gen Xer, and the speed of a millennial, that would be perfect. So the next best thing is creating a culture that embraces those qualities and helps them learn to value one another. So what we can do is, all we can do is build a culture where we can positively harness the positives and the strengths of each of these generations. And technology is going to be a real game changer or crucial factor, that actually leverage that actually can be leveraged to build this kind of a culture, and we'll see how. So we are at the verge of a different workplace, a revamped workplace, if I would say, a reimagining and redesigning the whole work. And the workforce, as you see, is also comprising of so many different generations out there. So if we have to see simple domains or aspects of a typical human resources field, so we can see performance management, we can see the online personality assessments tied to role and annual performance, the agile goal systems with robust data, decision making purely based on data or human intervention, managerial capabilities addressing the human element to review, course correct, iterative automated decisions. So these are all happening in the performance management aspect. But do we really feel the need of relying so much on technology and completely eliminating the human element? That's where points of adoption and points of rejection, those aspects come into picture. So when we say technology or digital transformation in HR, we also have points of adoption, points of rejection in each of the HR processes, in each of these HR interventions or assessments that we carry in every organization, right? So for typical example, if the appraisals or the performance rating is simply done on the basis of the data which has been captured, the feedback by the systems, the data driven decisions that are prompted by the systems, because we have data, we have technology, we have iterations done in the background, we have decisions which are given to us, based on those data. But then, will the human element play a real deciding role there? Yes, definitely, because the managerial ability, the human aspect is definitely needed in these kind of processes. So that becomes a point of contention, that becomes a point of debate here, point of argument, or a point to discuss about, to what extent is really the technology going to help us and to aid us in decision making those unbiased decisions. For example, another HR process is talent acquisition. So we can see that heat mapping sensors have come out in the market. They are installed in the waiting rooms of candidates, micro sensor based data insights. They give analysis, they predict the patterns of behaviors, while predicting the stress levels of candidates, the patterns in which they might give interviews, they might appear for interviews. Artificial intelligence enabling artificial reality variables, driverless cars to pick up candidates from their locations for interviews. Assessments of potential will also predict the success of future roles up to retirement, right? So all these capabilities have come up with the use of technology. So here again there is a point of debate of what is the point of adoption, how much is the adoption, how much is the rejection in this kind of a process. So we see that in talent acquisition, if you're given a lot of enablement in these kind of patterns, behaviors, and predictions, it really helps. So the point of adoption is high in this kind of a process. Another example where point of adoption is high than points of rejection is people analytics, right? So people analytics depend basically on data, the cognitive processing, the natural language systems, predictive patterns of behaviors, enabling decisions while keeping the makers unbiased to avoid any dicey, uncertain extrapolations, right? So digital transformation is really helping us out in all these processes of HR, and we really have an industry debate in all these processes as to how much is the adoption quotient and how much is the rejection quotient. Depends on every sector, depends on every company, depends on the culture which we have in the companies. So it's not a one size fits all model, but it really is a tailor made, it's a personalized approach, which kind of defines a company's culture, an organization's culture, to where it really aligns them and helps them, enables them to make more wiser decisions, to be able to leverage this digital transformation in their HR journey, in their cultural shift, as they prepare for a workforce which is really diverse. And now companies are moving towards high potential talent development, because if you see, talent architecture is some kind of a hardware, but the people strategy of any organization is kind of a software. So when we really have to align the software and the hardware, it is then that we really build talent intelligence, and we are able to build high potential talent and groom the existing talent with the intelligence and capabilities that they need. A simple example is, again, if I have to quote a real industry example, there are internal job postings, where let's say I'm in HR and I want to go into marketing. So I can make that shift of domain through an internal job posting, right? So if I see an internal job posting, I'll apply for that job posting, and they'll go through some parameters, basically eligibility parameters, wherein the factors would be that, have I completed certain number of months in the current role? Has the enablement or capabilities been is there for me to scale up in the aspirational role that I'm applying for? Is the current department okay for me to be able to make that transition? Do they feel that I am capable enough with the competencies to be able to scale up in the aspirational role? So all these parameters actually are looked into, and the typical duration, the typical duration that I have to spend in my current role to be able to make that transition into any kind of a job role is or was I should say is was 18 to 24 months, if you see few years back. uh, but now, with this kind of a diverse expectation in the workforce, with this kind of high potential talent there, and they being really valuing the experience as to what they are able to do as a career growth pattern, right? So where are they going forward in their career? Are they developing enough frequently? If they're not, they'll just move away from that organization and they'll transition to another organization. That's the patience level of the workforce now. So to be able to really harness the high potentials existing in the talent in the current organization, they're reducing this current duration of the eligibility of these high potential candidates from 18 to 24 months to now maybe 12 months. So in just about a year that you have spent in the current role, you are still eligible to be able to be considered for the next role, or maybe next whatever aspirational position that you're applying for, maybe across domain or across skilled role that you're aspiring for. So that kind of a uh, facility or platform is now being enabled in various organizations, uh, just to have this scope to develop the high potential talent, because top talent or high potential talent is now very much in shortage, in supply in the market. And the only way for organizations to develop a high potential model to be able to cater to the talent requirements or the aspirations of the current talent is to help them focus from what to learn to how to learn, right? And really give them that exposure, that extraction from their exposure from the current roles, from the current responsibilities, so that they can see an actual increase in performance, their own performance. So an organization really needs to leverage technology to coach and to grow talent into high potential employees really more quickly, because of the changing environment, because of the competition out there, and really leveraging this kind of a talent management architecture to be able to do that. And ultimately, digital transformations, the levels of technologies that companies or organizations are using to be able to harness or groom their workforce into the leaders or high potential talent is through digital transformation. Leaders who can understand culture, they will pave way for newer ideas and newer ways of doing things, and that's how really they'll attract talent and retain talent in this war for talent. The current times are actually quoted as the great resignation, if you see. You might have read various articles on this. Talent is really volatile. They're just not patient enough to wait for another cycle of intervention for their annual increment, for their career growth. If they're getting something outside in the market, they're really making that transition from the current organization to the next organization. So ultimately, if we have to create value as an organization, so that the employees or the talent see the value in what they're doing, they see the value as their career is growing, their capabilities are developing, that's value. And unless you are actually using leveraging technology for this cultural shift, you won't be able to create value, right? So if we have to be accustomed to this change, the way to help develop that change is through technology and culture, and HR has a crucial role to play in this kind of a journey. So that's it from me today, and really happy to take any questions. Yeah, thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you, Rajesh. I think you really gave us an insight into the volatile world of today, the VUCA world as we look at it, and the diversity, generation diversity, because the workplace is filled with four generations, and managing the four generations, uh, how people have built it up, and how the next generations have to carry it forward. And are the students prepared for this world where you are going to enter? Does talent really, do you fit what the corporate organizations have there? Talent is all over the place. In fact, in one of our sessions, they said there are 75,000 jobs and 600,000 MBAs leave, coming into the workforce. So are you one of those 75,000? So that means you're very updated. With that, I think, Rajesh, we have a few students who will ask you questions, real questions.
Hello, sir. I'm Avishma Alwa. Sir, I would like to know what is that one special advancement in the HR with the digital transformation?
Yeah, thanks. That's a very profound question, I would say. And as we heard, digital transformation is everywhere. It's actually penetrating every sector, every field. So as we talk about HR, as I said, there are various processes and there are aspects or domains inside HR. Whether it is talent acquisition, whether it is performance management, whether it is rewards and recognition, or engagement, employee experience, uh, analytics. So this digital transformation, which is prevalent in the environment, which is a very changing environment, right? So the major the major benefit of that in the HR domain, we can see it in the HR analytics. The way HR analytics is actually growing from being a descriptive, a statistical model, to being prescriptive, to being predictive now. That's the kind of journey we have seen in terms of leveraging technology by the way of capturing data, by the way of utilizing data to get meaningful insights out of the data, and to see that trajectory as to how it leads to a more a profound decision making, which is really eliminating all kinds of biases, right? Because there are a lot of unconscious bias, if we see, in terms of human element, in terms of managerial intervention. We have a lot of unconscious biases which we have as baggages, if we see. While making any decision or arriving at any conclusion, arriving at any pattern or insight. But then if we have data, if we have insights, if we have predictions, if we have predictive applications which can really prompt us or enable us make those decisions, I think those decisions are really robust, and really the workforce or the leaders are getting enabled by that. So technology is really enabling HR analytics, if you see, in terms of HR. Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
thanks.
Hello, sir. My name is Sonia. My question is that being a HR student, what is the technical skills that a HR student should learn to be ready for the future or for the competition in future?
Mhm. Okay, so the major thing, if you see human resources, the first term is really important to be imbibed. We have to be human. We have to have that element of being really showcasing the empathy, the emotional quotient which is needed, because we have so many applications, we have so many tools, we have so much of technology, we have so many analytical abilities or platforms that will give us a lot of prompts, that will give us a lot of enablement towards this pattern, that kind of behavior, this kind of conclusion. Ultimately it is us as human resources that have to intervene in some areas of ambiguity, where we can actually solve a situation from being ambiguous to a more decision making output. And I think EQ plays a real important role over there. So as a human resource professional, we really have to have those capabilities of being emotionally really strong, being stable, being really unbiased in a lot of situations, because we have to really identify our own biases. We have to see for ourselves as to what are my own ways of thinking, and why do I think, or why do I think of a conclusion in a particular kind of a situation with some kind of variables, because of my biases, because of what I have learned over my exposure in my lifetime so far. But the similar exposure of some other person in their lifetime could be different, so the biases are different, right? So to be able to really mix and match, if you are in a conflict resolution scenario, if you have to really resolve a situation wherein people are having differences in opinion about a situation, and really have to go about concluding that kind of a situation, what is right, what is wrong. So you really have to see you really have to take a factual approach, that's a must. But then you also have to see the motives, the intentions of why people are saying what they're saying, why people are reacting the way they are reacting. So you have to be insightful in that perspective to really know whether the other person is making that statement out of the factual scenario, or he's coming from, or she's coming from some kind of a bias. So really able to be differentiate in that kind of a scenario, we'll require to be a real strong HR professional with really strong emotional quotient, intellectual ability, and also good conflict resolution skill sets. So I would say these are some abilities or competencies you should really hone up and practice it along with a lot of case studies available out there in your academics. It will really help you when you really take a foot in the industry. You know, that will really help.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. I am Shivani Suvarna. With the most of the companies have gone paperless or are going paperless, but with that we have the issues of the data getting misused. So I wanted to know what are the basic measures the organization must make sure so that the data isn't misused and it is saved.
Yes. That's a really valid question, and with a lot of digitization, with the data being out there, availability of the data, also the accessibility of the data, there is a lot of dependency or a heavy lifting which the IT department has to do. The security, the risks and assessment department in each of the organizations, there is the risk assessment team. There is this team which analyzes how much of the data is lost and how much of the security measures need to be taken to be able to prevent that data loss, or to be able to prevent the mismanagement or misuse of any kind of data by not giving access to certain kind of stakeholders for critical or sensitive data. So the classifications of data is really important. There are classifications like public, private, confidential, and internal. So there are different kinds or levels of data classifications, through which a certain kind of a certain what you can say, a certain sect of the employees, a certain faction of the employees get access to that data. And let's say, for example, compensation and benefits or salary related data, that shouldn't be a data which is available or easily accessible to everyone, right, in the organization. That would create a nightmare, because if I were to know your salary, you were to know somebody else's salary, that is going to be creating a lot of ethical conflicts out there, right, because that's a really sensitive data. So to be able to really protect that, to be able to really see whether only human resources team has access to that data or only the finance team has access to that data, that's the area where the organization should really focus on, for protecting the data, for really making data that much secure and robust, so that data losses and leakages are prevented. And technology is going to be really, um, you know what you can say, game saver here, right?
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Hello, sir. My name is Shama. Sir, what is that one thing you enjoy the most being in HR, and what is that one thing you don't enjoy?
So that's kind of a question which I really thought when I entered this field of HR from being a mechanical engineer in the first place, right? So the major motivation for me to become an HR professional was to impart trainings, was to really interact with people, was to really leverage the communication techniques, and also to counsel people in situations wherein they really need some kind of a guideline, some kind of a direction, or some kind of a change in perspective that they're looking forward to. Because every kind of a situation, there is a fact and there's a perspective. So if you are having an opinion, it could really be a perspective and not really a fact that moment in time. So to be able to really guide someone, to counsel that person, I really love to do that in HR, because that gives me a platform where people look up to you. People look up to you for some kind of uh, direction, some kind of suggestion or counseling, some kind of help. And really speaking, that gives us a lot of intrinsic motivation as an HR professional to be in this profession, to really go along in this profession and be motivated intrinsically, because that is what drives you, that is what makes you passionate about what you do, how you do, and why you do, right? So to be able to really understand why you do certain things, and what is it that really makes you passionate about that thing, I think that's the key to know as to what aspect of HR really clicks us, what aspect of HR really makes us intrinsically motivated to be able to really enjoy that, and not really feel that it is a job that I do, but it is a kind of passionate time that I devote to something which I love doing. So that is no more a work for you then. That becomes a leisurely activity, if you can say, but of course with a kind of passion and sense of responsibility, but that you executed really happily and with a lot of satisfaction, right? So it's a point of reflection and retrospection that everyone has to do.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. I am Deekshita. My question is, what is the most influential digital technology in implementing digital transformation?
So I'm not a very techie person to be able to really answer that, but I'll take an attempt at it. We have a lot of platforms and technologies, and of late we have seen Microsoft Azure and cloud services. The way cloud services has transformed, and the way artificial intelligence, machine learning, some of those areas have evolved. with the kind of analytical applications or technologies assisting that. As I said, Microsoft Azure is one technology which is really helping automation, which is really helping this kind of augmented reality or data insights being captured. Cloud is another platform or technology, and there are various other technologies like PowerShell or Python, right? For artificial intelligence. Machine learning is itself a language which really helps in this kind of predictive ability, wherein the machine learns through iterations, and through every iterations it kind of develops trends and patterns and comes out with real predictions and uh, what you can say prescriptions. So there are various technologies, and you might want to read about it so that you also are aware of what are the demands and of these workforce in the market. What I've seen is there's a tremendous demand who are experts or subject matter experts in these kind of technologies, because that's where the market is headed towards, because everyone in the organization is talking about digital disruption and how they are able to cope up amidst the competition. The market is really short in supply of this talent. Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Thank you all for the active participation. I thank our today's speaker, Mr. Rajesh Prasad, who in spite of his busy schedule has found time to guide us and enlighten us. Thank you, sir.